Hello friends, welcome to the UPSC 2022 Prelims Solutions with educated guesses and elimination technique, right? So in this session, we're going to see how you can identify the right answer for the prelims examination based on the statements and the options given in the question, right? I think in the earlier video we saw for 2023 paper, right, roughly about 30 questions, right? Even though you may not know exactly what is the answer, but based on educated guesses using some logic, right, based on what you've already studied, right, and of course using the statements and options, you can clearly identify which is the right answer. Or in some situations, you will be able to boil down to two options. After that, you'll have to take an educated guess and attempt the paper, right? Um, so myself, I'm Nitin. I'm an INIT and I'm graduate. I have gave 6 mains and 1 interview, so was able to clear prelim 6 times. I could not make it to the final list because I think one of the reason handwriting was not very good. I also changed optional from management to anthro to get high marks, but was not very successful. I was also a working professional and preparing, so maybe that did not help me to get into the final list. So these are some of my answer mains results sheets. Okay, so first question, 2022. So here, rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facilities are lead to provisions of lending by which one of the following, right? Provisions of lending. So who lends credit facilities, financing instruments is the question. Yes, I think except for people who may have done a very research study, it's very difficult to know such intricate details. See, one is of course World Bank. They give development funds mainly, right? Mainly grants or some loans. So it's not a rapid financing instrument or credit facility. So we can review. United Nations Environment Program Finance Initiative. So this will be mainly for environment related. So this also may not be true. See here, Asian Development Bank. Yes, so they're a bank. They give credit. Yes, could be an answer. But IMF, International Monetary Fund, IMF's main role is to help countries, whichever they are in debt, right, to help them come out of the debt trap, right? Currently, they're helping Sri Lanka, Pakistan. Earlier, India also took help from IMF. So it's mainly IMF duty is to help come out of the credit. So I was slightly confused between two options, but this looked more appropriate, right? It's a financing instrument, credit facility, provisions of lending. So based on, I think, educated guess, so we can come up with that IMF is the appropriate answer. And yes, that is the correct answer as well. So it could be that ADB also have something very similar, or that could be, that's also a possibility. But I think based on a probability and likelihood, there's a higher likely chance of its IMF program. On that basis, we were able to take this, decide on this particular answer. Okay, so this reference to Indian economy, yeah, inflation is too high. RBI is likely to buy government securities. Okay, so they want to, if you buy government securities, if rupees is hardly depreciating, RBI is likely to sell dollars in the market. Okay, so in order to pull out rupees from the market, okay, right? If interest rates in the USA or European Union were to fall, there is likely to induce RBI to buy dollars. Okay. See here, I think only let's focus on this. Okay. See, inflation is too high, right? The cost of price is already increasing. There is rupees is chasing very few goods. So actually, in those when the inflation is too high, to reduce inflation, RBI is actually suck out the money from the market, right? So if RBI buys government securities, right? So RBI buys, right, means it is pumping money into the economy, right? Right. So it should be the opposite. RBI is likely to sell government securities and actually get all the liquid cash available in the market to the RBI, right? So I was able to make this as incorrect, right? This is definitely wrong, right? So interest rates in the USA were to fall, that is likely. So these two statements, yes, of course, these two statements are equally correct. So even if just by knowing one particular option is incorrect, we can identify what is the most likely answer. And of course, in economy session, you would definitely come with all these long statements and very tricky, right? So you should know the answer. So here again, rupee is depreciating. Um, RBI is likely to sell dollars. Yes, it will sell dollars and suck out the rupee from the market so that it will try to protect it. Interest in the USA are to fall. They're likely to induce RBI to buy dollars. Yes, that's also true. Mhm. Okay, inflation index bond. Are advantages of inflation index bond. Government can reduce the coupon rate on its borrowing by the way of IBIBs. Okay, maybe, may not be. IIBs can provide protection to the investor from uncertainty during inflation. Okay, maybe. The interest received as well as capital gains on IIBs are not taxable. Right? So this statement is very, very strong. Ideally, you see, usually government taxes on everything, right? Your interest, capital gains, interest income, everything is usually taxed by the government of India. Even it could be lower or percentage. So I think based on reading, I had no clue what are these two options. Right? It's inflation index bonds. Yeah, this is probably correct. Investors from us regarding inflation. Okay, this could be correct. Comment and Kobu. So this I did not know, right? Whether it's right, but I know only this is wrong. So just remove. Okay, third one is wrong. So we will come with your answer. See, even in 2023 paper, there was one very, very similar question. Again, they came up with the same logic. The interest and income is not taxable or something. Again, the same. It cannot be correct, and that is actually eliminated. So there is a very common trend if you solve multiple year papers. I'll show you some more question with something very similar. So this statement almost repeated in 2023, but in a different context. It's not inflation index, but some other question they will come up. So of course, if you solve the last 4 5 years of prelims paper and understand how UPSC traps, right, set traps for your questions, you'll be able to very easily clear preliminary examination. Okay, let's move on. Okay, which of the following activities constitute real sector in the economy? See, real sector is majorly which actually contributes to the GDP, GVA related, right? See here, okay, farmers harvesting their crops. Okay, so there is some physical activity, there is some manual labor, people get paid, right? They get the crops, right? It goes to manufacturing. So there is real value add, right? Textile mills converting raw cotton to fabric. This is, I think it's a factory. So this is definitely correct. That's also definitely correct. So commercial bank lending money to a trading company. Okay, this is just a financial transactions which is happening, right? So, but is there any real value, right? See, he is lending money, but is that money being used for any specific purpose, right? So that is the question here. A corporate body issuing rupee denominated bonds overseas. Right? So this is definitely probably is wrong, right? You are issuing money overseas, rupee denominated bonds overseas, right? So if you're using that capital within the economy, then it's okay for some productive purpose. So these two options are pretty doubtful, right? So they don't seem to be correct. So yeah, you see, even if you can eliminate this option number four, so you see option number four is very relevant. So actually UPC is telling, okay, four is actually wrong, right? So it's actually the answer is one and two, right? So is these two activities are, I mean, the real activities where there is some tangible input, there are salary is being paid, there is an output which could be commercialized, right? So these are just financial transactions. Mhm. Okay, this is percent. Yeah, this again. Yeah, see, look at such long statements. Personal report of which in final contempt of courts. 1971 was passed. Okay, maybe, may not be. I do not know. Constitution empowers to punish the contempt for themselves. I think yes, this is correct. The Constitution of India defines civil contempt and criminal contempt. Right. So this is a wrong statement, which I knew. Right. So 3 is definitely wrong. Right. So you can eliminate the option C and C. You see, in India, the parliament is vested with the powers to make laws on competent. Oh, okay. So 3, 4 is gone. Make laws on competent laws. This is also correct. So option is actually B. See here. See, this is a the definition of civil contempt, criminal contempt is not very clear. Actually, this was there in news with the case of Prashant Bhushan, who was actually charged with criminal contempt, right? Because any uh, any source of dissatisfaction shown by any of the persons, right? It's could be penalized by the judiciary. Okay, so I knew this option was correct, so I was able to boil down this option. So this was also in news, even if you're not right. So there's an article in the Constitution where a lot of definitions are given. So you can just go through them once, and definitely a lot of this, some of these very intricate, controversial topics which is in news, they usually wouldn't have been defined. Even in 2023 paper, there is this question: efficiency of administration is defined in Constitution, right? Again, that's a wrong statement, right? Even in 2023, here also this is incorrect. 2023 also very. The Constitution of India has defined efficiency of administration in the Constitution, which is incorrect. So very similar question. So I would again repeat, do a trend analysis over the years. So you will see very similar questions appearing. Okay, so a lot of questions with long statements. So please pay attention. Government law officers and legal firms are recognized advocates, but corporate lawyers and patent attorneys are excluded from recognition as advocates. I mean, why? Right? See, this cannot be true. Right? Fortunately, I did not know who are being defined, but how? Why only government law officers and legal firms and corporate lawyers, patent attorneys are not called as advocates? Of course, even if you have seen basic knowledge of judiciary, I think everybody is refers to as advocates. So this is definitely wrong, right? So Bar Council have the power to play down the rules relating to legal education and recognition of law colleges. So this may be, I mean, of course, law students or somebody who is well studied may know. I know Bar Council has a very important role in regulating the work of the lawyers, etc. But do they make rules or do the education ministry make rules? Was a little bit confusion. So anyway, I know one is not correct, this is correct. So either of these two actually is, you have to finally decide. Right? So you have a 50% probability of getting it right. So actually the correct answer is yes. Bar Council do have the role in regulating the legal education and recognition. Right? So see if you're able to eliminate 2 options, I would definitely encourage you should go and attempt the questions. Right? So this is the law of probability, right? 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 There's a 50% chance of you getting that option correct, but of course there is see it's UPSC. If you have to get 100 plus, right, you usually have to attempt 70 to 80 questions, or some people attempt even more, so that even if you get some 10 of them incorrect, right, you will be able to easily clear the prelims examination. Okay, these again long statements, but it's a very simple question on polity. Actually, there were a lot of simple questions on polity here. If you've studied Indian Constitution well, I've not picked up all questions. Yeah, let's see this. A bill amending the Constitution requires prior recommendation of the President of India. So this is definitely wrong, right? So I think, see, I don't even need to read 2 and 3 statements, right? So, right. So first of all, right, I mean, I've made some other small videos on polity as well, like these topics, right? A money bill, if it is introduced, it requires prior recommendation of the President of India. Okay, but the constitution amendment bill does not require it. So these small intricate details, if you're very clear, right? See, if you this question, if you need to read all these three statements and then take a case, it will at least take 2 minutes. But right now, I think even in less than 30 seconds, I know this is wrong. You can quickly mark this as the correct answer. So you will be saying 1.5 to 2 minutes, right? So in prelims, it's very time constrained exam, right? You have to go, you have to mark in the OMR again. You have so many questions, difficult questions. Okay, this is again another very simple question. The Constitution of India classifies ministers into four ranks. Cabinet ministers, this is definitely wrong. Nowhere in the Constitution do they mention, right? They have these classification into different categories. So even if you have a basic knowledge of Constitution of India, you should be eliminate that. The total number of ministers in the union government, including the prime minister, shall not exceed 15%. So we know it should not exceed 15%. So, but of course, the doubt was, is it including prime minister or is prime minister excluded? That is one doubt which could come in. But you know, prime minister is also one of the ministers, but he's one of the, I mean, key positions. So that's the only difference. So option 2 is actually correct. So the answer is second option. All right. Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. See here, yeah, this is very intricate understanding of these options and statements. Okay, private and public hospitals must adopt it. See, private and public hospitals have adopted it, but not all of them. I think roughly how many, some 20,000 of each, some around that number, which goes to statistics. But must adopt, is it a mandatory provision? I don't think so, because not all, currently, if you have at least no common knowledge, currently not all private and public hospitals are accepting. So it is not a must, right? It's not a quintessential requirement. Okay, so this is not, as it aims to achieve universal health coverage, every citizen should be part of it. Okay, so I mean, does all your family members, do you have the Ayushman Bharat card? No, right? It's mainly for some of the BPL card holders or somebody people poor, but I think everybody can avail the services. That is for true. So if you have heard the statements of Prime Minister, he is saying, so we want to cover 5 crore population and 50 crore, 5 crore families and 50 crores population or something. So it's not, so these two should, and these two statements makes it probably incorrect. Of course, we'll come to the option. See, if you know one is incorrect, you're right on your answer. See, that's all. I mean, this is just elimination option. So if you know one is incorrect, even if not, of course, you can look at both the options. You know, 2 is also incorrect, so eliminate this. And it has seamless portability across the country. Yes, I think you can avail the services anywhere in the country. So that is definitely. So usually for all the schemes, go to their websites, right? Like Ministry of Health. See the scheme, read about, click on the whatever the scheme is given, click about that, about us, about the scheme. There'll be 5-6 points. Okay, the scheme is trying to achieve health coverage, scheme is trying to help preventive cure, curative cure, all those, only those 5 main statements. Please read it once or twice. UPSC also will pick up some of the create questions from those main areas itself. Okay. Okay, which among the following crops is the most anthropogenic? Anthropogenic is something man-made. Anthro is man. Source of both methane and nitrous oxide. Okay, now pretty tricky question, right? Okay, I mean, all 4 crops are important crops of India, which generates methane and nitrous oxide. Okay, so in the first attempt, when we read this question, it's very difficult unless you know very true. After you think a bit, if you have studied geography, cultivation, and all, see among these, or I thought the rice requires standing water. Standing water, it has very high consumption of water. Sugarcane also has a high consumption of water. Here there is standing water during the growth phase, right? So this standing water in this one is actually slightly causes some gases to be released, right? And which also is a source of greenhouse gases, etc. So this logic I was able to think in the round two while attempting, right? See, all other things does not require standing water. Sugarcane does require a significant amount of water, but not the standing water. And of course, rice is the main crop and it could lead to, I mean, emission of methane and nitrous oxide. So on this basis, I thought rice is the rice is the possible answer. And yes, so that was the correct answer as well. So you'll have to think and take a educated guess. Okay, see, there's a lot of science and technology questions and future um, new innovative areas and solutions. Right? Usually these are very futuristic technologies, so they can do a lot of benefits, right? So SRI, technique of cultivation in which alternate weeding and drying of rice fields is practiced. It results in reduced seed requirement. Okay, it could reduce methane production. Okay, that's good. Actually, see here only methane emission. In the previous question, we saw methane with rice. Right, so somewhere you can relate and guess the answer as rice cultivation for the previous question. Okay, okay, let's reduce electricity consumptions. Okay, I mean you need less water, right? So that's how you can. So this, I think all of them looks possibility. There's no reason to eliminate, right? And this is a new technique. It has so many benefits. There is a lot of research going on. Many farmers are using. In these type of questions, usually all of the above are the right answers. So there are many questions which come up like this in science and technology, agriculture. Usually, unless there is some specific strong statements, usually all of them are correct. So this is a definitely educated guess that you will have to take. Consider the following statements with reference to India. Monazite is a source of rare earths. Okay, I think that's yes. I think they contains thorium. Okay, we have studied that. I think in nuclear plant, right? So monazite occurs naturally in the entire Indian coastal sands in India, right? So you know that monazite, I think you've studied, it's mainly found in Kerala and some region. And is it possible that something is found in the entire coastal sands, right? Not possible, right? Definitely, this is definitely wrong. So this word, it's a monazite is found naturally in coast. Some of the coastal areas would have been correct, but entire Indian coastal sands not possible, right? So you just eliminate option three. Okay, so you don't even have to read the fourth statement. Government of Indian bodies only can process or export monazite. Yeah, because it's a rare earth metal, right? And there is some, it has significance for energy, weapons, etc. So it's only government. But even if you do not know whether option four, all you need to know that third is a possibly wrong. Okay. See, even when we would have studied all these metals, elements, rare earth, we wouldn't have gone to this level of details, right? You may not know so many things, but based on these options, you have to attempt these questions, take a guess based on statements like this, pay attention, read them very carefully, and take an educated guess. You will definitely get it right. Mm. Okay, this is another science and technology question for Arogya Setu, Coven, DigiLocker, and Diksha. They are built on top of open source digital platform. See, this is of course if you're a computer or a tech student, you know open source, right? They are digital platforms where people can build on top of the source code. You can build your own code, build applications, etc. Right? Open source codes. I think like UPI, like ONDC, is open source platforms, right? So this, of course, maybe you may not have individually studied. You would have known what is Arogya Setu, Co and DigiLocker and all that. So in this case, usually all of them are correct, right? All of them introduced by the government of India. They have similar, I think, functions, right? I mean, they have different purposes, but of course they are similarly introduced, right? So usually all of them are correct answers. right? In these type of science and technology questions, there could be a wrong, right? Digital locker has been there in news for many years now, right? But these are majorly built. The government is promoting use of open source digital platforms mainly to curb the hegemony of some of the big tech companies like Microsoft, Google, right? They want to move to open source platforms. Okay, software as a service. Again, this is like a computer science students, right? People who have worked in some corporate might have known this, so not many people would know. So your SaaS buyers can customize the user interface and can change data fields. Okay, it could be possible. They can access their data through mobile phones. Yes. So I mean, it's all. See, actually, this statements, Outlook, HTML are forms of SaaS. See, if you think a bit in the exam, software as a service, right? You know, here only they're giving you example. Yahoo Mail, like you're not buying a software. It's there on your phone. You can use it. Gmail, Hotmail, right? So you can make some customizations. You can do some filtering, etc. You can access your data through mobile devices. So, like, let's see, you may not have read about this as any time before the exam, but think a little bit in the exam, right? This is not a round one question because if you don't know, in round two, when you come, right, so you definitely should be able to mark D as the correct answer because yes, I think all of them is a possibility and all of them can be done in SAS. Same, very, very similar question, Web 3.0, again, computer technology. It's a new platform to develop softwares and code. It enables people to control their own data. So it's like a distributed platform. So actually this I was not very sure. In the Web 3 world, there can be blockchain. There can be blockchain-based social networks. Yes, is operated by users collectively rather than a corporation. Yes, this is again a distributed platform. That is true. So it's two or three or one, right? So I thought Web 3.3. See, it's an advancement happening in technology where we do not want any one company to control. Right? We want to have more everybody. Right? I think that's why UPI came in, ONDC platforms, etc. So this is I think the most suitable answer, right? I think ideally I was confused between this and this option, but in terms of science and technology, right? So it is more suitable that there is a lot of possibilities. It's more futuristic that can be achieved. Huh, same logic, same question, very, very easy. Biofilms. Actually, I had never read about what is biofilms. Right? Bio is life, films, maybe some biogenetics, somewhere it could be used. Right? I've never heard. Biofilms can form on medicinal plants within human tissues. Could be. There'll be some example can form on food and food processing surfaces. Okay, yeah. If you don't use it for a long time, it can form, can exhibit antibiotic resistance. There could be some example. It all can. So usually all of them could be the right answers. So even if you do not know what is biofilms, don't worry. Look at the options, right, and try to them. See, I think I showed you 5, 6 questions, more than that from science and technology. Very similar, and all could be the possibilities, right? So yeah, again, I mean, read all those statements in round two. See if there's any trap within those statements. If not, you should attempt the question. Consider the following statement in probiotics. Probiotics, I think it's of lately news to improve the gut health, etc. Okay, probiotics are made of bacteria and yeast. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe. Hmm? The organisms in probiotics are found in food binges, but they do not naturally occur in gut. See, this do not occur, right? So even in our gut, there are some gut bacteria, right? They help in digestion, cleaning of the gut, etc. This is more, so they do exist, but in order to increase, we take probiotics. So this is wrong. Second is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. So one entry. Probiotics help in the digestion of milk sugars. Okay, probiotics is it facilitates metabolism, digestion. Okay, so this is also correct. This also is correct. So yeah, so it's option number C for third question number 38. Okay, so like this is the elimination method. You eliminate one option, and then look at the answers and then try to come up with the solution. Okay, I hope this is a long question. Hmm. So when of course there are seven options, very tricky. If a major solar storm, I think this was also in news in science and tech, so reaches Earth, which of the following are possible effects on Earth? See, okay, GPS and navigations could fail. Tsunamis could occur at equatorial regions. Does it? See, solar flares come from the sun and impacts the Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so yeah, GPS and navigation systems that depend on satellite get simple. Power grids, again, they run on horizons. Auroras could occur. Yes, it could occur. It occurs in, I think, some of the uh, that frigid zone countries, right? Northern Europe, Northern America region. Forest fire could take place over much of the planet. Look at the statement where they have uh, you see, forest fires could occur, but over much of the planet's orbits of the satellites could be destroyed. Yes, or satellites are in the space, right? Solar flares coming from the sun, they could hamper shortwave radiation of the aircraft flying over polar region could be interrupted. See here, I think if you do not pay close attention, initially you feel okay, all of them could be a possibility. Initially, right? Unless you do not know. But see, read those statements here. See, for tsunamis to occur, what is required? I think if you read geography well, only when the plate there is a earthquake in the ocean, right? There is some disturbance in the plates, the earth plates, right? Only when there is energy is released from the earth's right, any of the plate, there's a slight movement, the energy is released, then there is the energy is transformed through the water as tsunamis. Okay, so for this has nothing to do with solar flares coming from sun, right? This is so just because solar flares affects satellites, navigation system, but it's not related to this. Okay, so two is I doubt. So two I doubt. See here, if I eliminate two, see this statement. 1, 3, 4, 5 is also missing. What is five? Forest fires could take place over much of the planet. I mean, majority of the areas there could be forest fires need not be wrong. See, there could be solar flares, some fires happening in some equatorial regions or so, but in much of the planet is don't see. And look at the way the statement is written. Forest could took place in many places or something, but over much of the planet also doesn't seem right. So this is wrong. Two is fair wrong. Come with C. Right? See, as I said in the earlier science and technology questions, all could be the most likely answer, but don't fall into that trap. Read all the options, be cautious, be present in the exam, get involved, understand each of the statements. Right? Come back to this question in round 2 or round 3 because the 7 statements you have to read and understand them. Okay, this again again very tricky question. WHO air quality guidelines, right? I mean, is there anybody who remembers all the guidelines, all the statements? I doubt. Okay, so 24-hour mean 2.5 should not exceed 15-inch annual mean 2 should not exceed. I mean, I have no idea. Who remembers all these nitty-gritty? I mean, if you remember all these details, you will never be able to finish and prepare for exam. In a year, the highest levels of ozone pollution occur during periods of inclement weather. Initially, I did not know what is inclement weather. I thought, okay, let me leave that. PM10 can penetrate the lung barrier and enter the bloodstream. See, if you have read this health very carefully, see, there is particulate matter 10 and 2.5. So 2.5 is the smaller size, right? Actually, there is a threat of 2.5 mm. So this could enter to breathing to our lungs and it can enter the bloodstream. It's not 2 PM10. So this statement I had studied, right, in environment or during those revision classes or somewhere. So I know 3 is wrong. I have no idea about 1 and 2. Okay, excessive ozone in there can trigger asthma. Okay, this is possibility. Okay, first let me eliminate option 3. So I have to decide between 1 and 4, 1 and 2. So Okay, so 1 is correct as per this, right? So is it 2 or 4, right? Now that's what I know. See, this during the periods of inclement weather, I was not sure what is the answer. Excessive ozone can, I thought, can trigger asthma. Yes, I think ozone is also a pollutant in the lower atmosphere, right? And it could trigger asthma. Okay, probably this is correct. And on this logic, I was able to come with option B as the correct answer, right? So based, I mean, so we may see this, we may not have studied everything, right? So although you know some bit of clues in the examination, but you should go ahead and attempt and take a chance of it. Mhm. Okay, 46 question with reference to polythene, terephthalate, the use of which is so wide. Consider the following statement. Its fibers can be blended with wool and cotton fibers to reinforce their properties. Okay, maybe. Containers made for it can be used to store any alcoholic beverage. Okay, any alcoholic beverage. I doubt. Let me think. Bottles made of it can be recycled into other products. Yeah, it can be recycled. It's a type of plastic, polyethylene, terephthalate. I know. Articles made of it can be easily disposed by incineration without causing grainy greenhouse gas emissions. This, see, incineration is an activity, right, to for able to conversion under high heat, high pressure, etc. But without causing, and I know in the statements given, only two are correct out of the four statements. So all of them, all the four cannot be correct, right? So it can be easily disposed. It can be disposed. Articles can be disposed by incineration. See, articles made of it can be disposed by incineration. This is a correct statement. So it can be easily disposed without causing greenhouse emissions is definitely wrong. So 4 is out. So 1 and 3 and 2 and 3. So which means 3 is correct. It can be recycled. Now I have to select choose between 1 and 2. See here again. See, look at this. It can be blended with wool and cotton fibers to reinforce property. Okay, it's a possibility. It can containers made of it can be used to store any alcoholic beverage. See, the alcoholic beverages again, there are a variety of types. High alcoholic contents need glass bottles, thick glass bottles again, so that it does not get adulterated, etc. So this also is incorrect. Right, so you see only this word called any actually made the whole statement incorrect. Here it can be easily adopted and without causing you to make the statement correct. So you have to read the statement very coolly, calmly in the exam and select the right answer in the exam, option A. Oh, this, see, you would have studied about nitrogen fixing plants, rhizobium bacteria, that there's so many times within your environment, in geography, etc. But UPSC gives you a very, very tricky question. Now, oh, sorry. Which of the following? Al falafel I've never heard. Amarnath I have never heard. Chickpea is like groundnuts. Chickpea, when I thought I think it's like groundnuts. So groundnuts are also um, nitrogen fixing. Right? Clover, we do not know this. You do not know. I know what is spinach. Spinach is that green leafy, which green leafy, right? We eat making sambar and other food items. So only spinach and chickpea. Only these two things I know what it was. Right? Clover is I think the spices. So chickpea I know is a groundnut. Yes, it could be nitrogen fixing. So I thought okay, option 3 is correct. So it is either A or B. Okay, because there is no 3 here. Right, then what is the difference between A and B? Okay, 1 and 3 is same, 1 and 3, 4 is here, 5 and 6. See, spinach is like a that green leafy vegetable, right? Right, so it does not grow below the ground, right? It is grows above, right? So it does since it does not grow below the ground. Chickpea is below the ground. So this chickpea I think is below. I'm not sure. So spinach is. So I thought option 6 is also incorrect, right? Because it is only those below the ground can help in nitrogen fixing, right? That's what was my assumption. So I thought 134 was the most likely answer, and I selected A. And yes, so apparently A, yes, this also is nitrogen fixing. This and clover. All three are nitrogen fixing plants. Right? So see, look at all of these options. Have a look at how those plants grow. Some of these options might repeat again in the subsequent examinations as well. Okay, this is polity with the British India Government of India Act 1919. The functions of provisional government were divided, reserved, and transferred. Yes. So which of the following were treated as reserved subjects? Okay. Reserved means it is under the direct control of the governor, not with the elected government. Okay. So see, if you have read it and okay, the options are administration of justice, local self-government, land revenue, and police. And look up the options. Not all four of them is one of the options. So one of them is definitely wrong. So you have to identify which is not wrong. See, if you would have studied well, no, you know, local self-government was under the transferred object. Okay, see, even if you have not studied it, see what the governor they did during the time is all the important area like rand revenue, very very important for government, police to maintain law and order, then judiciary, justice, they want to control punishment, etc. So these were under the government control of the governor because they want to run, they want to control the whole subcontinent, which they do not want to give to elected government. Local self-government is creating, yeah, the local bodies, provincial governments, etc. So these were given to the elected body. It was under the transferred subject. Actually, of course, I had studied this. Even without studying, these options will make you be able to eliminate 2 is incorrect and select 1, 3, and 4. Yeah, option 3 is the correct answer. Okay, so if you've studied well, it's good. Even if you have not, they would have selected this. So this is what most of the toppers, most of the rank holders, people who attempt in first, second attempt, they keep doing this. Okay, another economy questions. Economy, of course, some of the questions are simple, some difficult. Okay, so consider the following statements. In India, credit rating agencies are regulated by Reserve Bank of India, RBI. Okay, let's hold on. The rating agency, popularly known as ICRA. Okay, if you have studied newspapers, you would have heard this term. Is a public limited company. Okay, maybe, may not be. I no idea. BRIC Ratings is an Indian credit rating agency. Okay, I do not know. It looks like a foreign name, but maybe or may not be. Okay, I do not know. See, what I know is RBI's roles and functions. See, RBI regulates what? Banks, NBFCs, right? Okay, so these NBFCs and so many other financial monetary policies, etc., is done by the RBI. But whenever you studied about RBI, have you read that RBI regulates credit rating agencies? No, right? It does not appear anywhere. So this statement is probably incorrect, right? I think I thought, okay, one is incorrect. So the only option is, okay, to actually, the options are set in such a way that UPC is telling you, okay, this is the right answer, right? So if you look at the options, this is the actually the correct answer, right? So many of them will see, okay, maybe credit rating is also related to, I mean, there's a word called credit, right? Credit is giving loans. Okay, okay, maybe this word RBI may also be monitoring, which may not be. Okay, stock exchanges, who regulates? I think everybody would know, SEBI. Hmm? Like insurance is done by IRDA. Hmm. Okay, so right, but credit rating agencies are not regulated by RBI. So even if you think credit is related to RBI, then you may possibly think, okay, all may be correct, right? Which is, of course, some of them may argue like that, but of course, if you have studied Reserve Bank of India about what they do, the correct answer is option B. And select. Okay, another tricky question. Vietnam, right? I mean, there's so many countries, 197 countries. Can we remember all the countries? Right, so Vietnam is a friend of India, so they have India has very close ties. So somehow they have framed this question. Vietnam has been one of the fastest growing economies in the world in the recent years. They're growing fast. They are fastest. Okay, they're growing fast. Okay, maybe. It is led by a multi-party political system. I think no idea. No, who remembers which why Vietnam is led by a dictatorship, multi-party democracy? I know. I mean, only we know is Vietnam's famous war, right? U.S. versus Vietnam War, North and South Vietnam unification. So Vietnam's economic growth is linked to its integration with global supply chains and focus on exports. See, of lately, Vietnam is competing with India in textile exports and so many phones, chips manufacturing, etc. Because they are growing very fast. They have integration with global supply chains, and they're also export-driven economy. So we had studied this amongst the Southeast Asian countries, ASEAN countries. Vietnam is growing. Vietnam's lower labor costs and stable exchange rates have attracted global manufacturer. Lower labor cost, I know, is stable exchange rates. I actually do not know. So maybe is correct. So Vietnam is the most productive e-service sector in the Indo-Pacific. I have no idea. Okay. So I know three is correct and one is also correct, right? I think so. There you go. You have your answer. See, three and five. Okay, I do not know. So I actually know three is correct and one is correct. That is only sufficient. So out of five statements, even if you have some fair idea, you should go ahead and attempt this question. Okay, in round two, because you have five options, you need to spend more than a minute to read and understand the options. All right, this question number 71. In India, which one of the following compiles information on industrial disputes, closures, retrenchment, layoffs in factories employing workers? See, what are they talking about? Workers, right? So who maintains data? See, statistics office, I know they publishes all this GDP, etc. So they maintain data on economic indicators, etc. See, Department of Promotion of Industry and Trade. So they have trade related data, not really workers. Of course, they may have some workers employment data, but Labor Bureau, see, it's clearly saying like labor, workers, industrial disputes, layoffs, etc. So I think very with thinking a little bit, you can see it's the Labor Bureau under the Ministry of Labor. National Technical Manpower Information System. So this is just a system. It's just a software system. It's a platform. So see, I don't know who controls this, but Labor Bureau could be maintaining using the system, or Statistics Office could be maintaining it. So this is just a system, right? It is not a institution. So the option is, I think, on based on looking at the given options, right? You can be able to boil down that C, Labor Bureau is the answer. So based on some thought, some logic of what you've already studied, you should be able to take this educated guess. Polar code. Mm, Okay, so polar North Pole is in news because of, I think, the fight for those regions trade. See, this also I'd never heard what is polar code. It is the international code of safety for ships operating in solar waters. Maybe. No idea. It's the agreement of countries around the North Pole regarding the demarcation of the territories in the polar region. So this is definitely wrong because we know there is already the what is that? The Cold War in the North Pole, right? Between Russia, China, between the US, right? It's already happening. They are trying to break the ice, capture the areas. So there is no agreement, which we all know. It's a set of norms to be followed by the countries whose scientists undertake research studies in North Pole and South Pole. Maybe this seemed to be a possible answer, right? It's a trade and security agreement on the members of countries of the Arctic Council. This also is not true because I know there is no agreement yet on North Pole. Every country is fighting against each other. So I know B and D is definitely answer. It's either A or C. Okay, so right, so both looked very appropriate for me. International code Safety of ships operating in polar waters, maybe there's some. There's a lot of ice, mud, so they need some safety measure. It's also for scientists. There is a lot of scientific studies happening in both North and South Pole. There is Indian expeditions happening. So probably both seem to be very, very correct. So I think based on uh, your intuition and guess, right? So you can select your answer. Actually, the correct answer is option A. Mm, right. So I mean, if you have boils down to two options, I would suggest you definitely need to take one particular option. Okay, Tea Board of India, consider the following statements. It's a statutory body. Maybe, may not be, no idea. It's regulated body attached to the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. See, if you have studied most of the areas, the tea, coffee, and all, it comes under Ministry of Commerce, not under agriculture. So actually, I knew that this is incorrect. Okay, so two is incorrect. Okay, I only have one option. So T's head office is situated in Bangalore. Okay, okay, and the board has overseas offices at Dubai and Moscow. Okay, I do not know. See, T board actually is situated in Bangalore. See, Bangalore is in Karnataka. Karnataka, do they produce tea? No. So Karnataka is popular for coffee production. Okay. Actually, I'm from Karnataka, so I knew that in Karnataka, coffee is more popular. It's not tea. So tea, where do we majorly find? Assam, Tamil Nadu as well, Ooty, and these areas, and some of the hilly regions and those places. So it could be Assam tea, and if they had given an option, I would have been doubtful. But they say it's Bangalore, and in Karnataka, you don't even grow tea. This probably is incorrect. This is an educated guess. I did not know. So I see 3 is also wrong. So mainly I came up with the option 1 and 4. See, actually this option also looked suspicious, right? It has office in Dubai. Okay, Dubai, we have a huge export, and we have an office in Moscow. Moscow, I mean, why are we? I mean, okay, Russia is an important partner, but it's not a, I mean, distribution center. Do Russians drink a lot of tea? Right? I do not know, but of course, I was able to eliminate 2 and 3 as incorrect. Then I was able to select D as the correct answer. There may be one or two minor mistakes using this method, but yes, see, UPSC, you have to attempt 70, 80 questions, right? Right. So I think you probably, even person who has studied very well may know 20 to 30 questions exactly, precisely 30, 40 questions, or some of them even up to 50. But the rest 50 questions, which is there, about 15 to 20 will be very, very difficult, like the medieval history and some topics, right? We definitely do not know, right, which is the appropriate answer. Very difficult. We will have to leave 10 to 15 questions, right? But then next, about 30, 40, 30, 35 questions is where you can look at the options, think a little bit based on the knowledge you have already gained, and be able to attempt the question. So this again, right? Who are the members of the Organization of Turkic States, right? Actually, and for I had usually studied most of the organizations, right? BRICS, SEO, who are the members, Arab Council, etc. Who are the members, everything. But UPSC again gave us another trick. Turkic states, who are the members of these, right? So Turkic, when you read this, okay, it's something related to Islamic, right? So usually it's the Islamic nations. When I look at the options, I'm like, why is Croatia? Croatia is a European country, right? So not possible. Romania again. It's again in European country. See, if you'd have seen the Ukraine map multiple times, these guys fall there, and right, and even so these countries are there in Armenia, Azerbaijan, yeah, largely Islamic countries. So 3 and 4, I doubt, is wrong. It cannot be members. So if you eliminate 3 and 4, so 4 is here, 3 is here, 3, 4 is here. So 2 and 5. Okay, even Armenia is not part of Turkey state, so no idea. So it's only Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan. right? So that is the answer. So I only based on this location, and these type of questions are coming in almost every year, right? They will select some country in South America and say, they'll give some country's name. I think there was this question, I am not able to recall, but these type of questions have been recurring every year, and they will give you those type of options which you can identify that it is not, that it is definitely wrong. Hmm. With reference to Indian laws about wildlife protection, so wild animals are the sole property of government, is it? I thought wild animals, forests are all natural resources. So I'm not sure. Let me come back. When a wild animal is protected, such animal is entitled for equal protection, whether it is found in protected areas outside. Yes, when an animal is protected, right? Your tiger, elephant, whether it comes to Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, it is protected, right? We can't take any action. Apprehension of a protected wild animal becoming a danger to human life is sufficient ground for its capture and killing. No. As I said, even if a tiger enters Bangalore, Mumbai, or an elephant, so we cannot kill because it's a national animal, it is a protected under the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Act. So this is definitely wrong. So 3 is wrong. So is it 1 and 2? So 2 is actually correct. So wildlife is sole property of the government, right? So now we have boiled. So of course many people can claim because the forests are controlled by government, but as per they are natural resources, right? They have their own right. Government protects the wild animals, but they are not the property of the government. So this is also wrong, right? So actually two is the correct statement. So this is the difference, property and protection. So you have to be present, see what is the right option. So which of the following statement about Sangam literature in ancient South India is correct? Sangam poems are devoid of any reference to material culture. See, is a very, very strong statement. Are devoid of any reference to material culture. Definitely wrong, right? The classification of Varna system was known to Sangam poets. Maybe Varna is the fourfold classification of society: Kshatriya, Brahmins, Vaishya, Shudras. Right? This has been existing since I think it's believed to have come since Aryan times. And okay, maybe Sangam they may know. Okay, probably. Sangam poems have no reference to warrior ethic. I mean, there is so many poems, so many thousands of literature, no reference to warrior ethic. Definitely wrong. Sangam literature refers to magical forces as irrational. Maybe it could be right. Magical forces as irrational is like so. It's all see. So literature is defined by each individuals, right? So this also may be correct. This also maybe is correct. See, Varna system. Okay, so at least some poets might have known Varna system and written about it. Okay, this is magic for some may have written as irrational, some have written irrational. So it's ideally between B and D. So you have to take a call which is most appropriate. Actually, so actually the correct answer is B. I felt okay. Varna system is was been existing since very old times. So it's possibly that it was B is the right answer. Correct statement about Sangam literature. Okay. Okay. Question number 94. Again, this is like a bouncer. Yoga Vasishta. Okay, something related to yoga. Okay, was translated to Persian by Nizamuddin Panipati. Okay, no idea who this is. During the reign. Okay, so UPSC makes it question simpler. Under whose reign? Okay, Yoga Vashishta, some people might have studied. I'm sure nobody would have studied over Nizamuddin Panipati except for an history optional student. See, in the first look, of course, I have no clue who would have attempted this. But if I'm forced, okay, I want to attempt this question. Okay, see, Aurangzeb, definitely no. Aurangzeb is known for decline in art and culture, art and literature, everything. Right? He was not interested. Humayun had a very, very short term. Right? He was not there for too long. right? So it may not have happened, may not. It's like based on a logic, right? Based on what we've studied. Shah Jahan, Akbar, both art and culture flourished. So within Akbar and Shah Jahan, in Shah Jahan times, it's mainly the architecture marvels, right? Taj Mahal, Red Fort, and all of those structures came in. In Akbar time, it's where the whole, I think, painting, music, literature, everything flooded. It flooded during Shah Jahan times as well. But most likely answer is probably looks to be Akbar time, right? There was more conversion. Akbar himself was very passionate, right? So there more activities happened during the Akbar's long reign. So this could be the most suitable or most probable answer. See, it could have happened during the other times as well. Shah Jahan also very likely answer. But if you have to attempt based on some educated guess, it would have been the Akbar, right? Based on the options, right? So option actually I did not attempt these questions, but later when I saw it was Akbar, but right. So based on this thinking and logic, you can say that is the right answer. Okay, so let's come to the last question for today. Nanoparticles, other than those made by humans, nanoparticles do not exist in nature. Definitely wrong. See, we have microorganisms, nano, micro, so many particles. So there are nanoparticles exist in nature which cannot be seen by human eyes, but they do exist. Okay. Nanoparticles of some metallic oxide are used in the manufacture of some cosmetics. Okay, some metallic oxide used in some cosmetics. Yes, no, nothing wrong. Nanoparticles of some commercial products which enter the environment are unsafe for humans. Okay, yeah, they could be unsafe, right? So, see, one is definitely wrong. Okay, so three is actually definitely correct. Yeah, two is also correct. So, very simple option is option D, 98. So, roughly about 32 questions we were able to attempt based on some logics, right? See, in this 32 question also, maybe we may make mistakes in 3, 4, or 5 of them, but you still based on logic, educated guess, right? See, you have already studied about nanoparticles, right? So you based on these options, you have to take a guess. It's not like you do not know what is used in cosmetics. Is it harmful? Degradations? No. Based on whatever is given, you have to take a call and get very good marks in the prelims so that you can qualify for the mains examination, right? So I have also made video for 2023 paper. 2023 was a very difficult paper, but still 30 questions, right? Roughly 60 marks you should be able to get from the educated guesses. There are many more simple questions both in 23, 22 also. 20, 30 very simple questions attempted, so you should be able to easily clear the prelims examinations. So if you like it and if you find this useful, let me know. I'll also make videos on 2021 and earlier years as well. So I hope you liked. Please give your comments, like, subscribe. Right? Thank you so much for watching.